What's going on, my boxing brothers and sisters? Another edition of Major Key, and we have a special guest tonight, legendary promoter, Mr. Sampson, Sampson El Picasso de Uruguay, should I say, Lukowitz,
Yeah.
Mr. Matchmaker promoter. Always a pleasure to see somebody that's so impactful. I gotta say, I've been wanting this interview, Sampson. Ever since you gained my respect the way you represented your fighters in the WBC convention last November. Immediately after that convention, I wanted to talk to you. You not only the way that you represented, David Benavidez, and you really stood your ground for him, but also the way that you respectfully cleared the air with Adamas. When you spoke to Adamas, you didn't have to, and you went up to the podium and you spoke to him like a gentleman. And I had a newfound respect from you at that moment. So welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, when a man make a mistake, because I didn't have a knowledge of this real situation, because
Right.
it was not disclosed to me or to anybody else. I
Right.
feel very bad that I make a mistake, but it's from a man to say I'm sorry. I believe that is to be humble. It
Absolutely.
brings you happiness and no sad. I
Right.
was sad for the situation, but that this kid have. But I apologize from my heart. I can tell you that much.
And as a man, I respected that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like when I saw you do that, I said, okay, this guy right here, that's a stand-up guy. So respect. And we also have my co-host, Mr. Troy Graham. How you doing, brother?
Bless up, man. It's good to be back, and it's good to have you here, Mr. Sampson. Good to have you here, man.
Well, my pleasure.
All right,
I know
brother.
he has some interesting questions for you as well. So let's start off. First and foremost, Mr. Sampson. Yeah, like I said, Picasso from Uruguay. So you come from Uruguay. Tell us about what got you into boxing and a little bit of who Sampson is.
Well, I happened to be, I was an amateur boxer many,
Hmm.
many moons ago with a record
Okay,
of
you
two.
used to box. You?
Yeah,
Oh
in
wow.
my
Okay.
country. Yeah. And I did three amateur fights. I won two, and one I lost by death. I went through the ropes. So
Oh man.
I say, no, I'm too nice to be a boxer. So,
Okay.
but there always I have boxing in my heart. And I'm so happy that I fulfill my dreams to help in boxing. And this is what I do in my country now. In Panama, the same thing, that I have over 600 amateur fighters that I
Wow.
sponsor. People doesn't know that, but this is what I do. Boxing give me so much, so I give back to boxing and to the kids. I took many out of uh, from drugs and alcohol and street. So this is what
Yeah.
I do when nobody see me. If I'm 1 week, I'm not in the States, so I'm in different country. Try to help,
Right.
this kid that he have that is looking for a light in the tunnel. So I'm the light for these kids.
That's great, man, because I know that a lot of you have fighters from everywhere in South America, the Caribbean, Central America. So you definitely look for fighters everywhere. So respect to you for that. I know Troy has some questions about your past and things that you do with other people.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man? I got
Good,
to
good.
tell you, at first glance, I would never think you were a boxing promoter. You look smooth, Mr. Montekia over here, looking smooth, man. Yeah. But I did some reading on you. They said that you discovered one Mr. Manny Pacquiao. Is
we,
that
we,
correct?
we say correcta mundo. Correct. Yes. I was, you see, most of the promoters is well educated people like Bob Aron from Harvard University, Louis Vela. But I start from no, I don't know, I will not say the bottom, but I will say I start from the beginning of boxing, that he was selling gloves, and then I was a manager, and then when the act of Muhammad Ali came, I make the decision between to be a manager. I was a matchmaker. When I was a matchmaker, I have the 8 years consecutive matchmaker of the year for the WBO, the matchmaker of the decade for the WBA, And that time I used to work with Murad Muhammad, and it was the promoter that they hired me to be his matchmaker. I was the matchmaker of Roy Jones Jr.'s. So I learned from the bottom. So till today, I'm a promoter, I'm an advisor, and I'm a matchmaker because I do the matches for my fighters.
You
So
were
that
you
is the
matchmake
difference.
this. You were matchmaking. You did the matchmaking for the cards earlier this month, right?
That well, early this month it was my show, but I do
Right.
all the matchmaking. In this case, it was combined with one of my partners, Paco Damian. But the difference between me and the well-educated promoter is that I know the business from the scratch.
Right.
And that it give you a little bit more knowledge that depend of an employee to tell you what to do.
Now, how did you discover Manny Pacquiao? Was that before he came to America, or was he still in the Philippines at this point?
Well, and no, one day I received a call from a lawyer from San Francisco, and he said that they have a Filipino guy. I say, look, I'm the matchmaker for Murad Muhammad, and we are. In that time, we are it's a good promoter, but not the major promoter. Even though the only thing we have in that time it was really Roy Jones Jr. What happened with the others? He said, I went to Bob Aron. He said, what I do with the Filipino? No. He went in that time with Dan King. He didn't want it. So it was nobody else. I believe main event it was that everybody say no to a Filipino. So I started to study that the Filipinos, most of them, it was losing because it's coming 7 days before the fight. The differential of the time, 12 hours or 13 hours, 14 hours sometimes. That is, East time or West time, Pacific time. So I say, that it must carry something wrong 7 days in America. Beside that, the food is different. You know, uh, these people is not ready to take a challenge. So this lawyer told me, let me send you a VHS. Remember the VHS kind of tape, and take a look the fight of Manny Pacquiao. Few days after I received it, I put it in my machine, and the opponent went down. I said, "What's wrong with that?" You know, something, something wrong. So I put it in slow motion. When I put slow motion, I see a body shot. You know, I said, "Oh my God!" So I went to Murad Muhammad. I was in the convention of the IBF in San Francisco in that time. I told him, come over and let's sign this kid. And in that time, I used to have I used to represent through Murad Muhammad, Castillejo, that he fought Oscar de la Hoya.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let's sign this kid. And we put it on that show in, with the Oscar de la Hoya, that actually was Oscar fighting uh, Castillejo, but he didn't have no company yet. Golden Boy didn't exist. But the promoter of record, it was Ludivine Entertainment. So we
Oh,
bring it in the
okay.
undercard. I spoke with the lawyer. Sidney Hall is the lawyer in San Francisco. Uh, so I told him, listen, how long you have your kid over here? I said, no, I have it like 2, 3 months. I know that it's very good. We put it with Freddie Roach. I said, oh my God, that is good. So what we did is we bring it to this to the show, but you need to sign a contract. The contract it was in handwriting. In that time, you don't have the computer that you can put it
Right, right,
right
right.
away.
Uh-oh. Did we
So
lose him?
I have a
Oh, there he
call.
goes. There he goes.
Yeah, I have a call. This what happened is, so what happened that Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, we see you. Oh man,
Yeah.
Sampson's popular, man. Sampson's popular.
No. It's Freddy Fundora. He must. If he called me 3 times, he must have something important to tell me.
Do you want us to stand by? We can stand by if you want. You want to stand
You
by?
can stand by, and I
Yeah.
make a phone call because he called me 3 times.
Yeah. Just
Take care of your
put us in
business.
the
Go ahead.
background,
This
man.
is live.
We'll stand by, and we'll talk to the crowd. See if they have any questions and all that for when you come back.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh, all right, no problem, man. So yeah, guys.
Hmm? Well, this is a part of doing live business. Everybody, as you all know, this is a part of doing it. You have to be flexible. You can't be inflexible, or else you won't last in this business. Correct, Major?
Talk. If you're trying to get into some adult conversation, you already know what it is. Hold on one second here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I thought I broke up. Anyway, which caller? Yeah, so make sure you subscribe iTalk, and also ladies of iTalk. We got Kazi, Cosmic One. Go ahead and subscribe to him as well. Late Night Boxing Talk. That's my guy right there. We got Tony B, Tony Boswell up in the building. Salute to you, sir. We got G-Ball. What's going on, G-Ball Blinky? We have Tycho TV. What's going on, bro? We have the Queen Lisa Bells. What's going on, sis? You already know. Who else we got up in here? G Funky came through. Salute to G Funky. You know what I'm saying? Black and Brown, of course. My brother Black and Brown.
Bruce.
Bruce Gas. Bruce Gas, salute to you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I see that you bounced back, but you could always click the link as well. Come back up here. Retro Boxing and Commentary, salute to him. Make sure that you subscribe also to Bruce Gas and to Retro Boxing and Documentaries. Get some knowledge about the boxing game. You know what I'm saying? Some true OGs that know their shit when it comes to boxing. Who else we got up in here? Boxing Logic United. What's going on, bro? Long time no speak, Mr. Myron. Make sure y'all subscribe to Boxing Logic United as well. Of course, the Troy Graham Experience.
Yes, sir.
And that's about Boxing Historian. Salute to you, bro. Let me see here. I think that's about, and Remy. Remy was the first one here. Salute to Remy.
You forgot.
Who?
Major Key Boxing.
Oh, we here, baby. We here. It's all good. We here. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all share this too, man, because he's just taking an important phone call from Mr. Fundora, so Sebastian's father. So must have been important as he stated. So he's got to take that call and he'll be right back. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Maybe we could get some exclusive news.
Well, let me say this,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
I miss doing these lives with old Major here, man. We feed off each other. It's kind of a challenge sometimes, You challenge each other, we feed off each other. So that's where the energy comes from. I always say that we good all by ourselves, but we great together, That's the way it
Yes,
works.
sir.
And then I heard all the whispers about, when y'all coming back, when we gonna do this. Well, here we are. Ask no more. All you gotta do is walk through the door. The Graham.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, the Major Graham connection is back. That's right.
That's right. That's right. You know what I'm saying? And when he comes back, don't forget to ask him that follow-up question about his philanthropy. You know what I'm saying?
I got it.
Yeah, because he was talking about that. So I didn't want you to miss that one.
Definitely got
You
it,
know what I'm
man.
saying?
But this is great, man. We got him take care of business live on air, just like that time when Chris Bird was so passionate he started crying live on air. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Hold on one second. All right.
Okay.
So we got Sampson back in the building. Let me go ahead and put you on the solo screen here. All right. It's connecting right now.
It's so funny. I called Freddy. He told me he's in a Zoom.
Oh man!
I told that for nothing. Anyway,
I thought we were gonna get an exclusive here. But I'm sorry. Go. You want to continue, or Troy? Did you want to follow up?
Yeah, because you were telling us about Manny Pacquiao, and you were up to the point where you hooked him up with Freddie Roach, and you were going from there.
And the contract was in writing, handwriting.
In writing, that's correct. I have a copy. So when this we have it for 8 rounds in the undercard, and 3 weeks before that, the opponent of Luwawa, he got hurt, he got cut. It was a Mexican, I believe he was Eduardo Sanchez, and I say to somebody from Mexico called me that he was hurt. So immediately I called the IBF and I say that we have the next available contender. And he said, no, you're number 7. I said, I went for number 3, 4, 5, 6, and no one is available in 3 weeks. And that time you need to send it by fax to make the offer.
Oh man.
It's not like now. It took me a few days. So 2 weeks before the fight, it was upgrade to fight Luwawa. In that time, Cedric Kushner, he was the promoter of Luwawa, and he said, "I'm sorry, I cannot take the. You need to give me 3 options." I was negotiating that on behalf of Murad Muhammad, and I say to him, "No, because it's the next available contender for a mandatory." Because in that time, Sanchez, he was the mandatory.
Gotcha.
So Maria Muhammad in that time he approved that. He said, yes, it's the mandatory. He said, yeah, but it's not fair because my guy was training for a southpaw. They say, what do you think is Manny Pacquiao is? Southpaw. In the press conference, Ludi Vélez say, I'm sorry, I was the president of programs in HBO, and I believe that it's totally a mismatch, but it be a good fight because whatever Luwawa is one of the best in that division, where she was 122 pounders. So I say that he was a good executive, but he doesn't know shit about boxing. So we become friends in the end. So I predict public that it be only 6 rounds, and this will happen. And I work with them four more fights, and then I decide to go by my own because why was I given to promoters Castillejo? Why was I given Manny Pacquiao and get the salary? I thought,
Right.
I learned for so many years in that time, probably about 15 years of career or more. I said, it's time for me to go on my own. And this is what I
Right.
did. And today I'm here.
That's
With you,
excellent, man. Yes, thank you so much, man. Yeah. So, Troy, I think you had a follow up because then I think he made a good point that I'm gonna piggyback off of as well.
Yeah, I have two, but I'm gonna ask you this one. We're jumping ahead to this one. In this rough and somewhat cutthroat business of boxing promoting, you found it in your heart to help to start a trust for one of your fighters when he collapsed in the ring. And I can't pronounce the brother's name. I'm sorry. I think he's a Russian fighter of yours, right? Was he Russian?
In my career, I have
Hmm.
2 tragedy. One is Levander Johnson that he fought in Vegas, and he collapsed. No, he didn't collapse he collapsed in the dressing room. But when he finished the fight, he was a champion. He said, Sampson helped me out because I have men if I'm not a champion. So I give him the opportunity as a matchmaker. I got him the opportunity with the IBF, and he was a world champion. That night, he fought a Mexican, I cannot recall now the name, and he fought 12 hard rounds. By the 10th round, I remember I told him to the father to stop the fight. He said, no, really, no, I know my son. In the end, he lost the decision. He hugged me and he told me, you have connection in Las Vegas. He made a match. I told him, let's see the future. Let's go to the dressing room and talk. And he collapsed in the dressing room. We took him to the hospital and we stayed with him till he passed away. When it was a funeral, I used to live in that time in New Jersey. Uh, we went to Atlantic City, and the first one to talk, it was the mayor of the city. The number two to talk, it was the brother and manager. And he called me up and he said, "You deserve to be the third one before my father or anybody else."
Wow.
I went to one and I couldn't. The only thing I was crying. So
Mm.
this was almost for 6 months. I gave up on boxing because I choose the opponent and I make a big mistake. Uh, but it was it's something that the father and the brothers Johnson, he come and he told me, he pleaded to me to continue boxing, that I make his son happy to be a man, and he died like a man. And he told me, the father and the brother, if my brother he want to do all over again, knowing that he will die that day, he will do it again.
Wow.
He make me, feel
Yeah.
good about it. And I come back after 6 months of
Yeah.
retirement. And the other circumstance, it was in Madison Square Garden that with the Russian, that was Magomed Abdul Salamov, that I say to stop the fight. And it was not, in that time, New York used to be so bad, the commissioner and
Mm.
and all that. But he finished in a court of law and he got paid very well. But
Yeah. Still lost the
fun.
life, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the two sad time that I have in boxing. The rest
Yeah,
is
man. Well,
happy. Win, some you
yeah.
lose, but you're happy.
You
Yeah,
just
man.
broke.
Well,
Mhm.
go ahead. Go ahead, Troy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just broke every stereotype there is about boxing promoters. You know that? All the bad stories we hear about them. You're a very passionate, giving man. Yeah. Something tells me that your fighters are very loyal to you, right?
I believe that 99% yes.
Okay. Well, that was the kind of thing that I was going to piggyback because they a lot of them you're very selective with your fighters, right? Like I said, but you pick around from everywhere, like you pluck talent out of everywhere. I noticed that all of them are, if they don't have a perfect record, they got a pretty close to perfect record, and you're always putting them in with. You said you're part matchmaker as well with this, and a lot of times you do put them against other undefeated fighters. I noticed that. That's a trend that you do. You don't give them the easy route as they're still early on in their career. You give them you put them against other undefeated opponents. So, number one, what's your strategy behind that? And number two, how do you select your the boxers that you offer promotional deals to?
What I put a tough from the beginning is because you need to know what you have. And most likely, I would say more than 60%, uh, I make the right decision to put in tough. Like an example, uh, Jason Rosario. He came to
Hmm.
America. I bring it. He got knocked out in the sixth round, and then he come to be champion. I never, uh, if any one of my fighters lose, I will never let him go with that defeat. I will bring it back immediately.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
this what happened with them. And I say to each one of them, you can call me up when it's an issue. Don't call me to say hello, how are you, how you doing. But all my fighters, you have my number, and we have an issue with the management, or you have an issue with the trainer, or doesn't feel good. This is like my own child. He called me up and we talk. And always I have time for every one of them. And I have about 30 of them in this moment.
Yeah.
And each one he can call me up. Like an example, he called me Edwin de los Santos yesterday. And he said, it's already a few months he's supposed to fight. And he didn't bother me to say, I need to fight, I need this. The only thing he wants to be sure that he's ready, that he's working, and he knows that I will bring something good to the table. And this what I have, this is the kids that I love each one, especially my specialty is, the Dominicans, that I create several champions and fighters that nobody look at them.
Right, right.
So this is what I do. But it's not easy, and I spend a lot of money and investment in the future of future boxers. Most of them is
Mm,
from you. I don't have very few that already built this career, and I got it after somebody else, another promoter built the career.
right.
80% of my fighters, I do it from Pro Review in South America, in Argentina, in Uruguay, in Dominican Republic, in
Hmm.
Mexico,
Yeah.
in Panama. This is what I do.
Yeah, yeah. And let me ask you, as I'm going to let Troy back in the building. He fell off, but with that, like, what's next? Like, for example, you said you don't give up on your boxers. Obviously, Fundora, had an upset just a couple weeks ago. What you call it? But Brian Mendoza, let's give him credit. Like the guy, you know, what I'm saying the guy's tough. Looking at his resume. But what do you have in store for like folks like him? Then Roman Villa, that was an upset against Speedy Rashidi Ellis. You have Luis Nunez, Marco Cuello. You know what I mean? So tell me a little bit about what you have in store for those guys before we jump into pretty much who your prize fighter is right now, right? So we'll jump into him afterwards, but I want to hear about those guys first.
Okay, Fundora is a very special kid. I mean, people say, how can he make 154? And I will say, he can make 47. He walk at 160, 62 pounds. And normally the 47 pounders, he walk in 159, 160 or more. Some of those 170, and it's fighting 147. Fundora walking in 160, 162. And I took a picture and I put it in my Twitter. Might as well I tell you the Twitter is at Sampson Boxing. Uh, that at the dinner before the weigh-in, he was eating normal, a big plate, as well as Gabi
Yeah, yeah,
Fundora.
yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, it was a plate, and he make 109, and the weight is 112. So,
Wow.
so it's amazing. Was the way is, and I went to several times to his house, and by the way, Gabi make the best lasagna. So
Awesome.
she like nothing, and after that he went to train. I mean, it's really crazy. But I'm guaranteed that it will be a, a rematch. It deserves a rematch. And Brian Mendoza is one of the kind. The first thing he say, hey, give me the shot to be a champion, I will do the same thing to him.
There you
So
go.
it's a really mensch. We don't call him man, we call him mensch when it's really something special. And
Right.
I congratulate him. He did, he took one mistake, a slow uppercut, and he got,
Yeah.
not a lucky punch. It was he,
Yeah, it
he
was a calculated punch.
a
Yeah.
calculated punch. That's correct. So that
All right.
Dora, we have the rematch. Uh, Luis Nunez, the twist, he will fight again probably by September, October, most likely an elimination because he won the IBF International and now the top 10 contender. Edwin de los Santos, hopefully he will fight in June, maximum July, and we see who have the guts. Well, a boxer, no boxer have is afraid of anyone. The problem that the money. When
Right.
money is right, the boxer will fight the fighter. But sometimes you don't have that kind of money when you have a 14 and one kid.
Right. Right. Well, before I lead into money and start talking about anything related to that or anything, Mr. Graham, do you have any follow-up questions?
I'm interested to hear about the matchmaking you did with Roy Jones. You know, can you tell us some of the fights you made with Roy Jones?
Uh, Let me see if I don't have that kind of memory, but I will tell you which one. By the way, I was the matchmaker, and I did everything in the Radio City Music Hall, the first time in the history of boxing
Okay, okay, yeah.
that it was the first time. Then Babaroni did another one, so it's only two big events in that venue.
Mm.
Yeah, that's when he came out rapping, and I believe that Discombobulating Jones was the announcer that night.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, moving forward, then let's talk about Mr. Benavidez. Great guy. I've had him over here multiple times. I remember one time though, he came out of training and he was just like, he had pissed off attitude, man. He was in grind mode. He wanted to fight. So he made a good account of himself because he was definitely calling people out and he wanted to get in the ring with everybody. And at that time, that was before it was signed with Plant. And so he kept mentioning Plant and all of that. So I'm glad to see that they got it out in the ring, and David was successful. So with that being said, afterwards I heard Jose Benavidez stating that there were a couple of names with contracts sent out. So what I want to dive into, because I think a lot of people got what his statement confused, because he talks with a little bit of an accent, and I think so. Just for clarification, is he's got 3 contracts out, and that's because he's looking for someone to sign the contracts, but it doesn't mean that basically he's exclusive to those contracts. He can only make the fights with those 3 people. Is that correct?
Well, we have a contract with David Morrell.
Okay, so that one's in the works, like to be signed?
And this is done.
Oh, it's done. So that's next.
Not in reality, because we need to wait for May 6th.
Okay, so we're gonna wait to see, because that's gonna trump the. So even if the Canelo fight comes in, what you guys are signed for Morrell afterwards, no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. And if this is the case, I believe that David Morrell, he will have a bigger purse, because if he fight David Benavidez after, if Benavidez win the fight,
right,
it be much more money. So he's young, still learning. So
right.
he will take a step aside, waiting for the winner of that fight.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this then, because obviously the rumblings of Canelo, wanting to fight Bivol, but then Bivol, now he's coming back saying he wants to move down to 168. Now you did it, like I said at the beginning, you did a great job with the WBC convention to get him to get David as a mandatory. If this guy, and I mean, obviously you have to talk to him, but I'm just saying, like, what would be your recommendation if Canelo decides to do the Bivol rematch?
Well, if it's in a 168, it will never happen, because if whoever was in the convention knows that Mauricio Suleiman is pro Ukraine, against any Russian to fight for the WBC title.
Oh, okay.
So the reason that Bivol, he knows that. As for the 68, because he knows that it will not happen. So if he want to fight in 75, he will get more money, because he will not fight in 68.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes perfect sense, and I thank you for clarifying that, because a lot of people don't know. So, if that fight is more likely not to happen if it's at 168. So that is a big decision that Bivol has to make then, and Canelo has to be satisfied.
I would say that it will not happen.
Okay, so it won't happen. So
because he signed a document saying that he will. Mauricio, talking about Mauricio Suleiman, the president of WBC, he said that the only way to Russian boxer to fight for the WBC title, Russia must get out of
Ukraine. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that, Sampson. So,
Well,
and I follow up too, and I didn't know that. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure if my chat knew that. But
okay.
that's good to know. And so is it so then more than likely you're looking at David Benavidez versus Canelo, assuming that Canelo complies with the mandate and doesn't drop the belt. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now, if I believe if you go to 75, enough is enough for all the sanction bodies,
Right.
and it will, if it will, look, probably knowing Mauricio, it will give him every option to Canelo to make his own decision, and he must to decide uh, what people wanted in the end.
Okay.
And I believe it be Benavides, and the winner you will unify with Morel.
Okay. All right. So then I got two follow-up questions with that. And I apologize, Troy. Once I'm done with these two, then I'll give it up to you. But he just opened my mind to a couple more questions. So let me ask you a question about both possibilities then. So if let's say Canelo, it's Canelo next, right? Let's say if it's Canelo, everything's good. It's Canelo. In a perfect world, you got that coming up. So now that host, the whole situation. I know you have a good relationship with PBC, and with the whole network with network there with Showtime. You guys have been working great together, but a lot of people have it confused where you are just exclusive to PBC, like you can't make your own decisions. Which I know that that's not the case. So can you, if one side, which I'm not saying they are, but if one side says, "Hey, we want that fight over here, we demand it over here," you as a promoter for your fighter, do you say, "Hey, this goes up to purse bid," or how do you handle that situation?
Well, most likely, I would say that you go to a purse bid. This is one. But in the end of the day, we call ourselves promoter, but the real promoter is the network. It's not us,
Right.
because the network put the money up. It make the decision, final decision. It's not us. We
Mhm.
represent really the fighter.
Right. Right.
I say to it, including Bavaron or whoever,
Yeah.
like Eddie Hearn. It's
Right.
all about what the network approve.
Well, and I guess the reason that let me talk about the elephant in the room. The reason I'm asking that, Samson, is only because as far as the boxing community, we talk about every little detail. And so one of the rumblings going around the YTBC, which is a YouTube boxing community, one of the main rumblings since late last year and the beginning of this year is that Paramount Plus is going to be absorbing the whole Showtime platform, and they're not going to be as supportive for lesser revenue building shows and programs and stuff like that. So that's why I asked, because I'm not in house like you guys are, but I know we want to know from the outside as the fans. We want to know, if they're not able to strike a deal because Showtime is not willing to put up the money. Are you guys willing? You as a promoter, are you willing to kind of negotiate, or go to a purse bid and favor whoever pays more?
Well, all this that you're talking about the Showtime, nobody knows exactly what's going on.
Right.
Uh, Beside, you know, the big guys, Stefan Espinosa. Steve Espinosa is one of the mastermind of boxing, and he proved that with PBC and Showtime. So this is people talking,
Gotcha.
because it's nothing else to do. So,
Gotcha.
but
Okay,
the
so
reality,
as far as
nobody
you're
knows.
concerned, it's healthy.
Definitely, because we
Okay.
continue doing shows, letting people talk. And by the
Okay.
way, we make the best fights in Showtime than any other network, and nobody can deny
Gotcha.
that.
Gotcha.
Even Showbox, we do good shows. you know.
Gotcha. So the bottom line, basically, from what I'm hearing from you, is that Showtime is in a good place, so we don't need to worry about that. So then, I guess the final clarifying question with that is, if it does go to purse bid, will you deal with the highest bidder?
That's correct. And if Sony want to do it himself, it will not happen, because loyalty is the last thing a man is supposed to lose. And I'm not ready to lose, in my age, my loyalty to PBC.
Got you, got you. All right, so that's basically what I was trying to get out because I think that's a question that a lot of people have, and I know that you're a very strong voice, and you know you speak for as you know to represent your brand because you have your own brand. Even though you work well with you know who you work well with, which is great. You know what I'm saying that helps you and it benefits you and your fighters. Awesome, but I also want people to understand that you as a promoter, you also stand with your fighter and stand on your own. But with that being said, so with the after, let's say is Canelo next, right? And then you said David Morrell. And from what I understood from Jose Benavidez Sr., they said you guys sent a few contracts out. So who were the other contracts to? Just to clarify as well.
Uh, well, that I cannot disclose now. Put it that way,
Oh, okay,
because but yes, we send a couple of more.
okay.
That it be a surprise for the for boxing world. Put it that way.
All right. Well, just so you know, I mean, we heard it from Jose Benavidez Sr. that it was going to be Andre and who else? It was Andre and Charlo. But that's you know that's just what we heard, you know, from him. But we'll keep that away since you're in a different position. He can say some things that you can't. So I understand that.
Well, I can tell you that one of the two, I don't know if it will happen because now Benavides is making very good money, and I don't know what the people that he pays Showtime. He want to see someone that doesn't fit to the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
I I believe Charlie will be a very good pay per view, but Andre, I don't think so.
You want payday? You want payday?
Yeah,
You quotable boxer, quotable boxer.
horrible. I have better accent like you. Horrible.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for answering those questions. I'm gonna pass it off to Troy. I know he had some follow up questions, and I have just a couple more because I don't want to take up too much of the time. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulty at the beginning, but I do appreciate you extending your time. But I'm not going to be greedy with that because I do plan to build a relationship like I do with David. I'm actually waiting for Emily to get back with me about an interview with David. So once he's comfortable with that again, and we'll have him on. But I definitely want to have you back in the future. You know what I mean? Just let me know about your fighters and all of that. So I'm not gonna you know ask every question under the sun, but go ahead and Troy, go ahead.
No, I just want to jump on because I heard you discussing about the fight with Mr. Canelo and Bival. Now, if that falls through for whatever reason, right? What's the likelihood? What's the likelihood of him fighting David next, or is there something else that would stop the fight with him and David if the
Uh,
Bival fight?
if you go to big ball in 175, uh, definitely the next opponent that I believe is stronger than Canelo, it be David Morel. I believe David Morel is stronger and dangerous like Canelo himself.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, but this is a gentleman only what 8 fights under his belt.
Yeah, but he
David
have a
Morale.
long career. He's an amateur.
See, Troy, this is the part where you got to sit back and listen to the man that picks the fighters because Troy, for
Hold
some
on,
reason,
hold
he's
on.
not convinced yet. Troy's not
No, I'm
convinced
not.
yet, Sampson.
No, I'm
That's
not.
what it is.
No,
No,
I'm
you
not.
hey, no, you're not wrong, Troy, because that's
No,
your opinion. But he's telling you that he passes the eye test for Sampson, so that should tell you something in itself.
no. Listen. You have years of experience, and I trust your word. But to me, I'm saying this gentleman does only have 8 fights, and he hasn't really fought anybody yet to really test his test him. So I always say like this: you have to get a test before you get a testimony. So where's his test?
Okay, let me put it this way. About Lomachenko, he was a world champion in the third fight. And look what
Right.
he's now. Why not it be because he's Ukrainian and he's an Olympian? Well, Morel is an Olympian and he's Cuban and he's young and he's strong.
Mm-hmm.
So he have a fight. But when Lomachenko have a fight, already was a champion defending 2 or 3 times. So that is an example that doesn't until today how many fights he did and how many lost. So
I
which
got.
is mean that that anything can happen. And by the way, I saw him probably personally 6 out of 8. And I guarantee you that this a very dangerous fighter, very young and hungry. And that is very dangerous for anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He has all that going for him. He's also very green.
Well,
So we'll see. We'll see.
I look, I understand that probably you don't like the fight, you know, but in boxing, everybody have his opinion, and then we
Yeah,
can talk, on Sunday after the fight, or if
exactly.
you're a genius, you can read it on Saturday, the Sunday news, so
Um, how about this then? If that fight with Canelo ever happens with David Morrell in the near future, if I'm right, then basically from now on, Sampson, Sampson, allows us to interview all his fighters. How about that?
Oh
listen,
man,
you
you
don't
just
need
messed
you
this
don't
up.
need that. You can call every one of my fighters, and you can call me anytime. And I love, a well-educated conversation like we have now. Each one of, including you, that disagree with me.
Thank you, man. Let me ask you this too. Are you bringing any fights to Florida? Because that's where I'm at, and I would love to go to the gym. I went to Kissimmee out here is very popular. I don't know if you know about Kissimmee out here with all the Puerto Ricans and Osceola Heritage Park. I
Yeah,
know ESPN does shows there. I don't know if Showtime's ever done one around there, but I went to ESPN in the Amway Arena where the basketball arena. I went to one there for Kodo, and then I went to one in the Osceola Heritage Park for Xander Zayas, Pintufo Diaz.
yeah,
And a bunch of people that were fighting there. But do you
yeah.
plan to come to Orlando or?
In Orlando, I did it last year in November. I did one show.
Oh man,
Yeah, in Orlando, Showbox, which is spectacular. But most likely we're working in the West Coast, uh,
gotcha,
California, Nevada, Texas, and we
gotcha.
stick around that area.
All right. Well, hey,
And
I mean,
eventually you're gonna come
whenever
to
you
the
come
East
over here,
Coast,
you let me
right?
know. Get some credentials.
You will
But
find out immediately.
any last questions, Troy? So I can answer my last questions, and then we can let everybody know where to follow us and all of that.
No, not so much a question. Just want to thank you for your time, man, and understand that, once you come here, we don't really do interviews. We just have conversations, man. Anybody can interview you and ask you the same 1,000 questions you've been asked already. But when you come here, we like to take it a little easy. Well, not easy, but we like to have a conversation, just make you feel at ease because you are home, right?
No,
So,
and let me tell you,
mhm.
you people are totally different.
Thank
Major
Because
you,
Key
man.
and Troy
It's not
Graham. That's right.
CNN. It's not
because
Telemundo. It's not CNN.
but let me tell you something. When the gentleman told me that it's too green, he was not afraid for me to get insulted, and that is like a friendly conversation.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you don't want to, some people say, let me hear what I want to hear, you know.
Right, right.
So I appreciate that you was open and honest. So I love you, all of you. I'm telling you this. Very
Thank
nice.
you. I
Much
appreciate that, man.
respect, man. Much respect. We're all men first before we're fans, but we always show respect. That's a big thing.
Hmm.
Always show respect, right?
Yeah, that
Hmm.
that is wonderful, and I really enjoy it. And hopefully you can call me again, and probably
Yes,
it will not be so many issues.
absolutely. And with that being said, I'm going to say, like I said, I respected you. That's one of the reasons I want to reach out. And I am such a family man myself. That's why we didn't have the first interview, because the day that it was scheduled was for my wife's birthday. And my wife is very important to me. And, you have to take the wife out on the birthday for dinner, and it's all about her. So that's the only reason, we pushed it back to now. But, better late than never. So my last thing is, before you tell everybody where to follow you, where to look you up and all of that, just what advice would you give to an aspiring promoter, right? Somebody trying to get in your shoes someday. What advice would you give to them? And then also on the flip side, what advice would you give to an upcoming boxer? Because they have to deal with
Well, let me put it this way: if you want to be a promoter, be ready because it's very easy to be a millionaire, being a promoter. The problem is that you need to be multi-millionaire to come up to be a millionaire. You will lose money.
Gotcha. All right.
That is one. And for the boxer is loyalty and hard work. And your dream
Gotcha.
will come true. You
Gotcha.
know, I say all the time that the worst thing for a boxer is friends, sometimes his own family, sometimes the alcohol, the drugs, and definitely womanize. So that is what it killed the boxer.
Gotcha.
Always I say that the boxing is very jealousy.
Yeah.
You need to dedicate and respect like you respect your wife. By the way, I'm 50 years married. So
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah.
Bless
I
up,
know
bless up.
that I have many years ahead of you.
I wish you
So
would have
I
been
know when you
Felix.
say that I need to take my wife for dinner for the anniversary.
Yeah. Well, I wish Felix Verdejo would have had you as a promoter, before he ruined his life. But with that being said, man, thank you so much. Tell people where to follow you, and we'll let you go with that.
Thank you very much. God bless you all.
God bless you all, man.
Take care.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and Troy Grizzy, let me put you
Yes,
back on
sir.
the screen over here. Tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, I'm easy to find. You see the name right there, Mr. Troy Graham at the Troy Graham Experience. Please say the experience. And if I'm not there, of course, I'm here with Bright Lights Big City over here, Major Key,
Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Yes, sir. And do me a favor, also. What time is it? It's 10:52. All right. So right now, I know that who had a live. iTalk had
iTalk is still
a
going.
interview, right?
Yeah,
Go
iTalk is
check
still
out that
going.
interview earlier with iTalk. They always have real people talking real life stories. You know what I'm saying? It's always deep. Go check that out, and then also check out G Funky. He's going live, I believe, in 8 minutes, and I think he's interviewing De La Hoya's brother. De La Hoya's brother. That's who he's gonna have over there. So y'all go check out G Funky as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, yo, Remy, Ralph, and Real, G Ball, Lisa. Hopefully, I asked all the questions that you guys wanted to hear the answers to. Tony B, Tony Boswell. Like I said, everybody in the chat. I said what's up to. I believe everybody. D Style. So yeah, man. With that being said, man, another edition of Major Key. Peace. We out.